Welcome to Tentative Title with Tim. This is a podcast about creativity, about process, about filmmaking, and about screenwriting. Welcome everybody back to the podcast. If it's your first time here, welcome. I talk pretty much in free form about, well, you've heard my intro, so you know what I talk about. But the point of this podcast is just to kind of explore different ways of the process of filmmaking and creativity, and also to kind of dive into some practical steps to help us get to our goal of writing that script or going into production with that film, and just trying to be very much a cheerleader for everybody who wants to make anything that in the arts, but I'm specifically talking about filmmaking because it can be one of the hardest mediums to jump into, and I learned that over and over and over again, and I can't stop wanting to do another film, wanting to write another script, wanting to be on another set. It's something that's ingrained in my being, and I just can't stop, which proves to me that I'm in the right place, that I'm doing what I guess I'm on this earth to do, in terms of like my professional career. And so that gives me some excitement. It gives me some solace. It gives me some kind of I don't know how to call it, but it's basically like I'm glad that I went with my heart, so to speak. I went with my gut. I went with what made sense to me, and not to say that I didn't try to take on jobs that we're supposed to, and that proved to me even more so that I was not meant to do those other things. I was meant to do this. So because of that, when you make a film, the expectation is that it's going to go into a movie theater. At least that was the goal. Starting out, you especially when you're young and you go to the movie theater and you see these movies and you imagine one day either I'm going to be on that screen or a movie that I made is going to be on that screen, and it's going to be glorious. It's going to be the best day of my life. I can't wait to get to that point. But now, movie theaters are shut down for the moment, and we don't know when we're going to be allowed to go back. Of course, this has changed depending on where you are in the world. Some movie theaters haven't closed that much at all, or it's just a very small capacity that they're allowing. But at least in the United States, for the most part, movie theaters are closed. And especially in California, movie theaters are closed. So it's been this very weird, traumatic kind of process that I've been going through this entire year, like since last year. And it's been this gradual trauma in which at first I thought, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I haven't seen a movie in the movie theater in a long time. The last time I went was with my family, or I took my daughter to see a Marvel movie. Yes, that was really fun. I would love to do that again. But they were experiences that were very few and far between. And so I thought I could deal with it. I thought that I was ready to just accept the fact that we're not going to be able to go see a movie in a movie theater, and that was fine, because eventually we will, and when that happens, I'm probably going to be going every single weekend like everybody else and seeing as many movies as I can to savor that moment of being in a movie theater again. Now, I grew up going to the movies. I loved going to the movies. It was a time when I could just sit back and not have to deal with anything in my life. I could go on an adventure. I could have a catharsis with watching a very intense drama. I could go see a comedy and laugh my ass off. It was just amazing to just go to the movies, and I always wanted to go. And I saw so many movies multiple times, and it was just like it was, I guess, my chapel. It was my church. It was my place of refuge when I was a kid. And as I got older, I still went. I still saw some big movies that came out, but the habit started to dwindle a bit because I became so much more concerned with, like, well, I gotta go to work and I gotta do this and I gotta do that. And then on top of that, I was like, well, I'm also trying to make my own movies, so where am I gonna find the time? And that kind of, I'm kind of going through the excuse log of everything, but it's like I had so many opportunities to see movies, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't just, even if I was like dead tired, just say, you know what, I get to see a movie. This is awesome. I should just go and do it. But, sometimes I would just say, yeah, I'm just too tired. Like I got off of work. I don't feel like doing anything except, sleeping. I just don't feel like it. And I did that so many times. But now that we're in this situation where there's no movie theaters and everything is on Netflix and Amazon, and you can watch things on your phone. It's like the spectacle that I seek is no longer, I can't go out and get it at this point. And watching it on your phone, like, yeah, that's great. Like, I get to watch it, and that's cool, and I get to see it, but it's not the same. And I could see it on my TV, but my TV's not that great. Like, it's a small TV. Once again, I could probably watch it and be relatively like satisfied, but at home there's so many distractions. The kids are running in and out of the room. There's so much of a temptation to, get up and do other things. It's just, at least at a movie theater, you go there to see a movie. You sit down, the lights go down, you have your popcorn and your soda, and you're there to focus on what's in front of you, to focus on that screen, to be transported, hopefully, if it's a good movie, into another world, into a story that's exciting, and characters that are lovable, or at least like villains that are just compelling. You're there to do that. And so I have to say that I do miss that experience. And when we're able to go back into movie theaters, I'm once again, I'm probably going to be going there every single weekend, if not more. And, that's just what I got to say. So there's another part to this. So it might possibly be that movie theaters don't come back at all. And that is a really scary thought, because, like I said, going to the movie theaters is a fun experience. It's a communal experience. And I've heard over the months, like, some celebrities are saying, movie theaters are not going to go away. They survived television. When the invention of television came out, everybody was so afraid that it was going to kill the movie theaters, and it didn't. And then when VHS came out, people thought that VHS was going to kill the movie theaters, and it didn't. In fact, it actually got people excited about film. It got people could watch the movies at home, and then it just made them more excited to see more movies, and so it ended up being a very positive experience. And even with streaming, I think that even though we were allowed to also watch things at home, that there was still the novelty of being able to see a new movie in the theater. And that also drove people to still go to the movie theater, because you could see something that you couldn't see at home. And that has pretty much been the draw of the general audience into the movie theater, is the fact that you're getting something that you can't get at home. That's what brought back 3D for a little while, and then IMAX was became very popular, and so like there are all of these different ways in which to make the movie going experience much more grander than just sitting at home. And I don't know exactly like what's going to happen after this pandemic. Mostly because of the fact that it's more about the companies themselves not being able to survive underneath the financial constraints of not having people going to see movies. But just the habit of going to see a movie will that have gone away, because we were forced to stream for a year or possibly 2 years, depending on how much longer this goes. But there was an article that I read that I found on Twitter through it's in the Empire magazine, and they were interviewing various like well-known filmmakers, like James Cameron, but they also interviewed Steven Spielberg, and part of his interview he was basically stating that movie theaters would never die. And I wanted to read the quote from the article, because I thought it summed up the experience in general. And here it is. So he says, "In the current health crisis, where movie theaters are shuttered or attendance is drastically limited because of the global pandemic, I still have hope bordering on certainty that when it's safe, audiences will go back to the movies. I've always devoted myself to our movie-going community, movie-going as in leaving our home to go to a theater, and community meaning a feeling of fellowship with others who have left their homes and are seated with us. In a movie theater, you watch movies with the significant others in your life, but also in the company of strangers. That's the magic we experience when we go out to see a movie or a play or a concert or a comedy act. We don't know who all these people are sitting around us, but when the experience makes us laugh or cry or cheer or contemplate, and then when the lights come up and we leave our seats, the people with whom we head out into the real world don't feel like complete strangers anymore. We become a community, alike in heart and spirit, or at any rate alike in having shared for a couple of hours a powerful experience. That brief interval in a theater doesn't erase the many things that divide us, race or class or belief or gender or politics. But our country and our world feel less divided, less fractured, after a congregation of strangers have laughed, cried, jumped out their seats together, all at the same time. Art asks us to be aware of the particular and the universal, both at once. And that's why, of all the things that have the potential to unite us, none is more powerful than the communal experience of the arts. So that's a quote from an interview with Steven Spielberg in the Empire magazine, and I just thought it summed up the whole idea of going to the movies in general. Like, it is more about the movie. I mean, it's easy to kind of look at the fact that you get to watch something at home. You're in your recliner with the popcorn that you like. You can it's like it's a very relaxing, comfortable place to watch a movie when you're at home. But what we miss out on is the ability to watch the same movie with strangers and to have an emotional connection to kind of I forget where I heard this quote, but it was like, when you're in a movie theater, you are breathing together with strangers. You are crying with strangers. You are laughing with strangers. Like there is this kind of sync that happens with the people around you, where if you're all engaged in the movie, you're all feeling this emotion at the same time, and that is something that brings you all together. Even if you never say a word to the other person, like, you just know that you shared the same experience with somebody else. And in a way, when you're, like, I remember walking out of movie theaters and just like in a daze from a movie that was just so mind-blowing, and just looking at the people around who were in the movie theater with me, and just really like, just this kind of empathy, was bubbling up inside of me, just looking at everybody, who had seen the same movie that I did. And it's like, I didn't have to say a word to them, but it was like, wow, we shared that. Like that, we went on that journey together, and I feel like I'm connected to those people, even if I never know their name. I never know, like, I never say a word to them, but I just feel like I'm connected to the broader world, by doing that. And, with streaming, it's like we can kind of share kind of in that moment, but it's more like you have to seek out the community. You have to kind of like, if something big is happening, like right now, WandaVision, if you're following WandaVision, like that from week to week, that is a communal experience, which is great, because you experience the show, and then if you have a Twitter account, or if you're on social media, you kind of can seek out that community who wants to talk about theories of like what is happening, and so, but that that doesn't happen all the time. Like, and it takes a lot to kind of engage a community around something. And so the best way to have done that was to put a movie in a movie theater and fill it. Hopefully people came out to see it, and you kind of built that community around that film with just that experience of going to the movie theater. But I don't know what the future holds when it comes to movie theaters, and I don't know if the general public even cares about going to the movies anymore. I don't know. I hope that when we're allowed to go back to the movie theaters, that one, there are movie theaters still around, which I presume there probably will be movie theaters around. I don't know about big chains, but there's going to be, like, if there's a bubble that needs to be filled, it's going to be filled. And if people want movies, somebody is going to set up shop, with the movie theater, and offer movies to the public to see. But I don't know when that's going to be. And I hope that the movie going experience is something that we can't live without, because I grew up with it. I think it's special. I want my kids to continue to grow up with going to the movies, because they're now like of age where they're gonna sit still and sit through a movie. That I can actually have conversations with them about what we saw in a movie. And that, for me personally, that's very exciting. I want to have conversations with my kids about ideas that are presented in a movie, or just about the conflicts of characters and dynamics of situations and just all of that stuff. It's so exciting to talk about because it's what I thrive on. It's what I'm trying to do in my own work. I want to have a movie in a movie theater. I want to see it up on the big screen. I want all of that because that's what I grew up, wanting, and it would be so awesome to see that. If I get to the point where I'm making a studio movie, that would be so great to be able to just put that out there and say, look, I made a studio movie. It's in a movie theater. Please come out and see it, support it, just please, because this is awesome. Like, you have no idea how awesome it is to go back into the movie theaters and to see something on the big screen. Like, I hope that is something that can still happen. So, yeah, I have to believe that Steven Spielberg knows enough. I mean, heck, he's been around for decades, and I just hope that he's right. I hope that we can't live without it, and that it will never die. So, anyway, guys, this is all I got for this week. I hope everybody's being safe and, wearing the masks, washing the hands, all that good stuff. I want this thing to be over, as I'm sure everybody else does. But we're inching along, and eventually we'll get there, and we'll look back at this crazy time and say, man, that was really, really weird time, and it was sad. A lot of things happened, and we lost a lot, but we were able to rebuild, and we were able to come out stronger in the end, and hopefully coming out stronger in the end is, hey, let's go see a movie, because the newest movie is out. Let's go see it. So anyway, guys, I will talk to you on the next one. And also, if you want to connect with me, I have an email for the podcast. It's tentative.title.with.tim.podcast@gmail.com. Also, I have a Twitter account for the podcast where I post episodes, and that is @title_Tim. And you can find also on the Facebook page, I have a page for the podcast, so you can connect with me there. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you, and until then, I'll catch you on the next one.